You ever learn a new word, you feel super smart, and then poof, it's gone the next day? Well, what if I told you the problem isn't your memory, it's the method? See, every word has a secret story, a hidden emotion, and today we're going to learn how to unlock them.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You're staring at a vocab list, trying to cram these definitions into your brain, and they don't stick. It is so frustrating. But seriously, the problem isn't you, it's the way we're taught to learn.
Okay, think about it like this. On one hand, you've got rote memorization. It's totally abstract, it's boring, and let's be real, it's super forgettable. But on the other hand, you have story association. Now that is a game changer. Suddenly, words become concrete, they're engaging, and they are memorable because they latch on to things we already know and feel.
So how are we going to do this? Well, first, we're going to start by decoding our fears. Then, we'll get a real taste for words by exploring our senses. And finally, we're going to tackle the very shape of change. You ready? Let's dive in.
All right, first up, fear. It's this deep, primal thing, and the words we use for it are just so powerful. We're about to see how connecting these words to really specific, gut-level stories makes them way, way easier to remember. Let's start with a great word, consternation. The dictionary says it's a sudden feeling of anxiety or dismay at something unexpected. Okay, fine. That's technically correct, but it's flat. It doesn't make you feel anything. We're going to change that right now. Instead of that dry definition, what if we try this? Think about the pure shock and freezing anxiety Harry Potter felt the first time a Dementor glided into his train compartment. You're not just reading a definition anymore. You're feeling that cold dread with him. That sudden, out-of-nowhere terror, that is consternation.
And see, that's the secret sauce right there. Our brains are literally hardwired for stories. That image of Harry and the Dementor, it creates an emotional anchor for the word. So the vague idea of dismay is now tied to a concrete, unforgettable moment. And this works for so many words. Trepidation, that's that pit in your stomach feeling you get before a big presentation. And phobia, oh, that's an easy one. Just picture Robert Langdon from the Da Vinci Code novels, trapped in a tiny, dark space. His frantic, breathless panic is the perfect picture of claustrophobia. The story makes it real, and the word sticks.
Okay, so we've covered the internal world of fear. Now let's shift to how we experience the outside world. Our senses, especially taste and smell, are ridiculously powerful memory triggers. So let's explore the vocabulary that goes with them. All right, check out these two words, gourmet and glutton. They're both about food, right? But they are miles apart. A gourmet is all about quality over quantity. Think of a thoughtful food critic savoring every single bite. A glutton? They're the exact opposite. It's all about quantity and just consuming as much as possible, kind of like a competitive eater. That simple comparison just makes the difference click. And here's a great sensory word, pungent. It means having a sharply strong taste or smell. Come on, you know this one. It's the sharp bite of raw garlic, the intense aroma of a really strong blue cheese, or that zesty kick you get from fresh ginger. You can almost smell it just thinking about it, can't you? And that's exactly the point. The second you hear pungent and your brain immediately goes to the smell of garlic, boom, you've created a super powerful memory trigger. The word isn't just a bunch of letters anymore. It's a whole experience you can almost taste.
All right, for our final section, we're going to tackle the really big abstract stuff, words that describe shape, form, and transformation. How in the world do we make these ideas stick? Well, it turns out we use the exact same technique. We find the right story.
So let's look at two opposite ideas about change. You have malleable, which means something can be bent, shaped, or changed. And then you have immutable, which is something fixed, totally rigid, and unchangeable. Now, how do we bring these ideas down to earth?
Okay, picture this. Malleable is like a lump of soft clay in an artist's hands, just waiting to be molded into something new. Or think about a piece of iron, glowing red hot, ready for a blacksmith to hammer it into a completely different shape. Now, contrast that with immutable. That's a diamond. Its internal structure is perfect, it's fixed. You can't bend it, you can't reshape it. It just is. See the difference?
But what about stuff that doesn't really have a clear shape at all? Well, for that we have the word amorphous. It describes something without a clearly defined form or structure. So, how do you grasp a word that's literally about formlessness? Let's use a classic philosophy puzzle, the ship of Theseus. Imagine you have a wooden ship, and over the years, one by one, you replace every single plank of wood. The question is it still the same ship? Its very identity becomes blurry, undefined.
it becomes amorphous. This awesome thought experiment gives us a really deep, memorable anchor for a super abstract word.
So as we've seen, the key to building a great vocabulary isn't about grinding it out with flashcards. It's not memorization, it's connection. It's about finding the story behind the word, feeling the emotion, and linking it all to a powerful image you won't forget.
So here it is. Here's a simple toolkit you can start using today. When you find a new word, don't just look up the definition. Go find its story. Maybe it's from a movie, a book, a piece of history. Then, connect it to a really strong image or feeling. And finally, use it in a sentence that actually matters to you. That's how you own it. That's how you make it yours.
So, I'm going to leave you with this question. Language isn't just a tool for communication, it's like a living museum, packed with stories and emotions and history. So the next time you use a word, just pause for a second and ask yourself, what's the secret story hiding inside this one? I think the answer is going to surprise you.